The following program is hosted by immature, irreverent, obnoxious, and often disgusting young men. Listener discretion is advised.
This time on Nude Clan, we review Dead Trigger, the greatest student film ever made.
Shall we play a game?
Player to another.
Dark soul light. Turn on the TV, pick up the controller and play some games with the new
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Nude Clan, the video game podcast that reviews movies based on video games that you didn't even know were video games because they're weird mobile titles that came
or
out of
movies.
the Czech Republic. I'm your host. I'm one of your hosts, A4.
I'm Joe.
Caleb.
I'm Zach.
And today we are going to review the 2017 Dolph Lundgren vehicle.
Video?
Yeah, well,
Dolph Lundgren YouTube video.
This might
YouTube Red original.
This might as well have been direct to video. Dead Trigger, which somehow got a limited theatrical release.
It sure did, and that's why it's on our
Say
list.
somehow like it's not a great movie. Like you didn't feel for all of those fucking characters.
It got a limited theatrical release thanks to none other than Haim Saban. I don't know if you guys noticed the Saban Films logo at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew I was in for a really rough time. 'Cause I was like, ooh, Power Rangers. All right, well, here we go, I guess.
What the hell is a Haim Saban?
Haim Saban is the guy that created Power Rangers. He
Saleka Mala.
his company takes a bunch of stuff and basically just repurposes it super cheap. That's why we have Power Rangers, which was taking a bunch of Super Sentai footage from Japan. I believe Saban was also responsible for bringing us Samurai Pizza Cats, which is a great little anime. So yeah, there's that.
Wow, he's the 232nd most rich person in America.
That checks.
That's pretty rich.
I think he might have
Pretty rich.
also helped write the Thundercats theme song. I can't remember. He wrote.
Yeah,
So he's
the
an artist.
Thundercats Ho.
No, I just I remember hearing he was part of some of the biggest 80s cartoon theme songs before he went off and got a bunch of fucking cheap Japanese Super Sentai footage and made Power Rangers and became a fucking billionaire.
That's true. That'd be a good one to get into because that shit makes a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Well, when you just
Speaking-
take pre-existing footage and then film Saved by the Bell over it, I mean,
Yeah, but the best movie ever made does pretty much the exact same thing. Kung Pao Under the Fist.
that is true.
That's true.
That is very true.
So, I mean, it works.
That's just high art. That's the high art version.
But before we review this high-budget Neil Breen film, what has everyone been playing this week? These past few weeks.
These past few weeks, I have been playing almost exclusively Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Been putting a lot of time into that. I got to the point where I was like, well, I could finish this game in 6 hours, or I could do all the quests that I missed. And so I started doing quests. So it seems like I'm about halfway through those. A lot of really long. There's one where a chocobo has to fly around and gather these plants in the air.
Hot and cold.
And that's what I did last night.
Were you prepared for, I was watching Red 13 as I was on a blue chocobo 100 feet above the water, and he was riding it, and I was like, man, I never thought I'd see the day where this is an image for my consumption.
Dog riding a chicken.
I never once noticed Red 13. I led some cats to a village. and
God,
and killed some scarabs on the way.
Wasn't that a quest in the last game? Didn't you have to find like 3 cats in like second
Oh, they
7?
fucking loved it. They love their cats in the Final
You had
Fantasy VII
you had to
remake
find 3 cats in the
games.
last one, didn't you? Because like for the one dude that was supposed
Wait,
to
what
die,
about
but
the
didn't die.
chickens? Did you do the chickens?
I did the chickens. The chickens. Oh my god, dude! I fucking hate that chickens quest so much.
The
It's way
ending's
worse
worth
than the
it, though.
cat. Yeah, that's true. The
I've got
ending's
enough
pretty
of
good.
chickens from playing Legend of Zelda to last me a lifetime.
Do they have the Fort Condor stuff in this game?
Yes.
I have not run across the Four Condor
Fucking
stuff.
spoilers, A4, you dumb bitch.
It's
Oh
there.
yeah. Sorry. I spoiled that the weird RTS minigame that makes no fucking sense in.
There's another one. There's another one as well.
Just wait until you have to play Chocobo Racing 6,000 times.
Oh, I'm there, and I'm not happy.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing race after race after race. That's what I just
Some
got
of them
to.
are pretty cunty, like, to be honest.
Also, speaking of cunty, like, what's the point of this game after you beat everybody in Queen's Blood? Like, there's no
Yeah.
point anymore. I beat all the players in Queen's Blood. What is my life purpose?
Did you do the challenges and as well?
I did the challenges in at least one area. I found more challenges last night in another area. And so I'm like, well, can I really say I'm done with Queen's Blood if I don't do these two? So
No,
that is the question.
I got one to unlock in
I got
Costa
stuck.
del Sol.
I got stuck on Costa del Sol's Tonberry King 1. I can't figure it out. It's an asshole.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, well, that's nice. It's like you got to kill your own guys a bunch and make the Tonberry like really strong.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that one I've done like 7 times, and then I was like, I'll do some more quests and go back to this. So yeah, I'm just fucking around in FF7 Rebirth because there's no fucking way I'm going to beat these games by the 10th anniversary of the show.
Which is like what, 2 weeks from now?
It's in like 2 weeks. Might be able to review that one by then. Depends on where Schweiss is at, but I will be able to beat it. Like, I can just go and beat it. I just have like the end of chapter 12 and then chapter 13 and chapter 14 left. And these chapters are usually like somewhere between like 3 and 5 hours. So
I was gonna say the last level the last 2 levels really in the remake are fucking 17 hours apiece. Because that tower takes for fucking ever, and then when you have to fight Sephiroth at the end, that's for fucking ever too.
Oh, spoilers.
yeah, none of the chapters are short. I did do a few chapters without doing any extra stuff, and yeah, they were around like 3 hours.
That was like the
When I
one
was
thing
doing
I
them.
I do remember from remake was like the ending just drags in that first
It
one.
fucking does.
And not even like the Sephiroth fight, just like going through like Hojo's lab, and it's like, can I please be done with this? Like, I don't. Like, yeah.
I haven't noticed any dragging, but if you're going around doing extra stuff and then you like change it up by doing something like really quickly, I don't really notice it. The only time I noticed any dragging was like it forces you to play as Kate Sith
Oh.
for a chunk of the game.
Forces you, or you get to.
Forces you.
I was pissed at that too. That one fight is like brutal.
The whole thing was brutal for me. I was just like, I can't play this guy. This guy sucks.
Yeah, and then they make you fight Vincent with the Kate Sith in your party, and I was like, God damn it, dude! What the
I don't
fuck
mind
is
if he's in my
wrong with
party.
you
I could
people?
switch over to the other guy.
It's just having a gimp tard in your fucking group. I'm like,
Is that how you
oh,
pronounce
thanks, game.
that? I thought it was pronounced Kate.
That is. That's the colloquial term made for.
No, because there was like
Yeah.
a thing for years where people were like, it's not pronounced Kate Sith, it's pronounced like Kite or some shit.
Yeah, it's
Well-
probably the Scottish pronunciation.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just punch yourself in the mouth like 12 times and then say what you were gonna say before.
You get hammered, and then you can.
No, you're thinking of the
Yeah.
Irish pronunciation.
That's true. The Scottish don't drink. I forgot
The
about
Scottish pronunciation is you put on
Yeah.
a skirt and then you try to talk with like your balls all like
that.
waving
In your throat?
Yeah.
Or your friend's balls in your throat? And it's like manly or
I guess
something?
it would be cold in the Scottish Highlands.
It's
so
super
your balls
straight.
would be like retracted up into your just from blowing in the breeze.
I gotta hear the pronunciation of this. God damn it! It's like the phonetic guide on Wikipedia, not a sound file. Fuck you! I can't do that. I don't.
That's
I
why,
don't know
that's why
phonetics.
I never donate the $1 to Wikipedia when it asks me to. I'm like, fucking die like you should.
Can I actually take money away from you? Is that possible?
Outside of that, I have Bravely Default playing. Well, the DS is like the little sleep mode is on the DS, and
It's called.
I turn it on and I go into the village and I try to get more items available in the store very slowly.
Is village what you call it when you go into Cedar City? When I go into the village.
Basically, sure, yeah, that too. And all you do there is just like put guys to work on something, and then it takes a certain amount of hours, and then you can shift them around.
Is it like real-time hours?
Yeah,
Yeah.
real-time hours.
So it's like one of those
that's
weird mobile
stupid.
games where it's like
Yeah, it's like a what
back
the
in a few
hell?
hours, or you can use gems to power it up. Except I don't think this game has that.
Yeah, it's like that, but then it's also an RPG.
Yeah.
So this is just like a side deal
Yeah, I figured as much, but
that's very satisfying.
well, I think this is how you open up like the Dark Knight class
That's
and
very
stuff.
satisfying.
So I looked online and I was like, what do these? Because there's a bunch of different like parts of the village that you can level up. Like too many. I only have 4 guys. I can go sick these on, and it goes up to level 11 in each of them.
oh,
So
Spinal
there's quite
Tap.
a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Also,
to
of
go
course,
over.
Schweiss likes the part of the game that's extremely long grind that you kind of just leave something on the back burner and go do something else.
Yeah, just throw a couple thralls to cook on the Wheel of Pain for 16 hours. Hell yeah.
So anyway, that's all I've been playing. It's just those 2 games, and really
Nice.
really just FF7 Rebirth, and then clicking on the DS twice a day, checking, moving guys around if I have to.
Yeah. I also have the same thing. I played a little bit more of both. I played more of both games, but I've got over 100 hours in Rebirth right now,
Jeez.
and yeah,
Dude.
it's already longer than the 2 playthroughs of the first game, because it was about 100 hours for me to do once I finished up hard mode and got the platinum for the first time. So this is a big boy.
I'll give him credit for, making it like, even though it's like, 1/3 of a full game, I guess, technically, it's like pretty substantial. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of mini games, and there's just a ton of content in this game, like a fuck ton of content. It's
Which, like,
crazy.
I mean, to be fair, though, isn't that really what we've all been fighting for, though? Is more content in video games, or it's not an actual DLC patch you have to buy and you want to have your $70 worth?
yes.
Or is-
So I want.
Or is it too much? Is it too much to the point where you're like, it sucks?
What's
like,
the too much part? It's only too much if you have a podcast and you want to beat it quickly.
Well, and,
Yeah,
like,
that's where it's like,
Okay, good. I'm just checking because, like I said, it's like when you get to the last, part of like in A42, when you get to like the lab or whatever the fuck the dude's name is in the lab, it's like forever, and it's not very fun or satisfying towards the end. And then you fight the boss, and then if you're me, you didn't level up anything with your like demon fucker because you didn't realize you could do that or get new ones, and so you just get your ass beat for 3 hours until you get lucky. But yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
you know how you can get what is it when you start out with like the demon thing, Bahamut or Behet or so whatever the fuck, when you do like your ultimate or whatever.
Okay.
I think he's talking about the summons.
Yeah, the summons. I didn't look up any guides for that game, and I've never played a Final Fantasy before, so I didn't realize I could find more summons. So I just had the one the entire time, and
Oh,
it did
the
not
shitty one?
do- Yeah, and it did not
The
do well
Moogle.
at the end. It didn't do well at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, that won't do well.
But also, here's a little trick for any future Final Fantasy plays. The summons are the last thing you should put any energy into. Honestly,
Yeah.
they're like the least useful part of any of the games.
Most
except for
of the
maybe
time-
15.
Most of the time, I don't even use them when they pop up. I just because it's like, well,
I thought you
I
were
got
talking about.
abilities.
I thought you were talking about just like the remake series in general, because like the limit breaks probably do a lot more than the summons do.
Limit breaks battles, but then also in games where the summons do a lot, like you get too used to them and then it like weakens you. So if you use the summons too much in 10 and you use the summons too much in 8 especially, and you just get like used to them doing like bullshit damage and saving your ass, then when you get to the parts of the game where your character is like under leveled and shit and you haven't like touched any of the level up stuff or the draw system or anything like that, you will fuck yourself over because you neglected. It's too easy when you're like a younger player especially to neglect like the rest of the game because you use the summons too much. I definitely ran into that with FF8 and maybe with FF10.
Well, it doesn't help that in those games in particular they're kind of busted. So
They are for like the first half of the game.
Yeah,
And
but
then
then
it
they
goes-
fall off.
Yeah, then they fall off real quick and you're like, oh, but I can't. Why can't I beat this guy anymore? And it's like, well, you just...
Well, I meant like specifically in like FF10 where like they just act as a shield for your entire fucking party basically.
yeah.
Yeah, I used him as a meat shield most of the time.
Hell, when I beat 10, I beat it with Yojimbo or whatever the fuck. I just had him like insta-kill jacked, essentially.
Oh yeah, that's how I beat the super boss. I fought it like twice, and then I was like,
Fuck
nah.
this.
here's a million gil, and I
Yeah.
just kept giving him a million until I killed it, and I was like, all right, cool, thank you. But yeah.
I just picture you whispering that to like the TV.
yeah.
Arigato gozaimasu, and then you do a little bow.
Yeah, so I've been playing a ton of that. I have been playing a decent amount of Bravely Default as well. I have like 30 hours in that game now.
Fuck. All right.
I am grinding a little bit because like I found out that Freelancer level 10 gives you an ability, a passive ability called AP up, or no, JP plus is what it's called. So nothing what I just said was true, but it adds job points to every battle. So like it's like a 25% increase or 20 or 25% increase to your job points at the end of each fight. So I went and threw everybody back onto Freelancer and ground them up to level 10. And now I'm going to start playing with all the other classes. And I've been doing the side quests in that game and a lot of stuff. Just because it's like I'm playing it at work on breaks and lunches and shit. And I'm not really in any rush, so I'm getting all the classes unlocked and kind of playing around with stuff. Just having a good time. So it's a good one. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely got that douchebag difficulty at times that comes from 4 Heroes of Light, but it's at least as satisfying as that game.
I mean,
with
you
some cool
could also
features.
argue the 3D remakes of 3 and 4 too, right? Because they also made that.
Yeah. And this has a similar feel to those as well, because it's like, I don't know what it is about DS games, but they love just hiding things in plain sight, and so there's like a bunch of hidden items in a lot of the areas, and that's something I remember from playing 3 on the tablet, which was the DS remake. It's like there's a lot of hidden shit that you can like find. I don't know what it is about DS games that brings that out in the Japanese, but this one's got that too. Yeah, just a ton of that. You know, I'm enjoying Rebirth. I look forward to playing it every day for the rest of my life to finish it because there's a billion fucking quests and things to do, and I'm trying to do it all, which is sick. But
You hear that like, oh hey, fucking Final Fantasy VII reunion or whatever Part 3 is called came out, and you're like, I'm not even done with the second one.
yeah, it's probably going to be called Reunion. That would be a perfect title.
I think that is kind of a good problem to have. I think the amount of extra stuff in this game is, I don't know, it might be unprecedented in the Final Fantasy games. Like, it might be more than 12 in terms of extra stuff. I don't know. Schweiss, you've done 100% 12 too, so.
Yeah, this is going to take longer than that, I'm pretty sure. Because I think 12, without the ×2 speed or ×4 speed, whichever one you had the balls to do, I think it was about 134 hours for, like, everything done. The little license, like the trophy room filled out, everything. I think that was about what I did.
What I find refreshing about FF7 Rebirth is that there are a good amount of like little quests and scenarios and stuff that don't have the big green quest icon over it. It's like you could just find something new that wasn't like the game predeterminately telling you where to go. Like, there's a little bit of, you can do some extra exploring and just find random shit. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good time, and like, it's a lot of content, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, this is too much. But it's all self-inflicted. It's because I'm trying to do it all, you know? But I'm just like, there's so much to do in here. It's insane. I do think it's unprecedented, like, in fucking games, period. I feel like it's way up there on the amount of side shit. And the card game, I think it's better than Gwent from Witcher, so... And I kind of liked Gwent, but I was never that much into it. And this one, I think, is a lot of fun. So...
I'm looking forward to the mobile spin-off.
Yeah, they'll have
Are
a
they gonna
6
do
month
that?
shelf life. I heard talks of them doing something extra with Queen's Blood, but
I mean, if they made a
I
fucking mobile version of that shitty game from Final Fantasy 15, then I mean, like...
yeah, why not? All right, what about you, A4? What have you been up to?
I've been playing a decent amount of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. I think I'm getting closer to the end, because, like, I'm looking at the like walkthrough, and all the areas listed are like a lot of areas I've already visited before. So I think there's going to be a bit of backtracking, and then like maybe like 3 or 4 more dungeons before I'm kind of done.
That's what it looked like with the thing that Joe sent to the chat.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Fair bit of backtracking.
Because again, I fucked up and I chose the vanilla version instead of the hard version that Zach and Schweiss played / are playing. So I it's kind of hard to say, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. I mean, there are some little things here and there, like this fucking puzzle. And Zach, when you get to the fucking obelisk, there's these like puzzles where you have to like, where there's like, basically it resets the Kagutsuchi, the moon thing, to 0, and then you have these panels on the ground that have like either 1, 2, 3, or 4 lights on them, and you basically, every time you step on it, it moves the moon phase that many ahead until it gets to full, and then it moves it backwards. And you basically have to figure out what order to step on them in order to get it to like 4 or 8 in order to like make a block lower so you can go through. The last room, they don't tell you, but you have to do like 3 of them in a row without resetting it, while all fighting 3 bosses at the same time.
Oh, I can't wait to use a guide for that part.
It wasn't that bad, but like I never would have figured that out if I had, like, I fought all the bosses individually, but I kept resetting every time because I was like, I don't know how to get it to this number with where I am right now. And apparently the guide's like, yeah, don't reset, and I just followed whatever steps. Like, the puzzle itself wasn't even that hard. It's just I didn't realize I had to do it all in like one go, essentially.
This game likes to fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't just like love fuck you, it grabs your hips and fucking thrusts, bro. It hate fucks you, dude. This game is fucking, and it's fun. I enjoy it. I love getting railed in this game, but like, it's just like, fuck, dude. It just, it wants it.
It doesn't spit either. It just goes.
It doesn't. No, you're in prison. You're in prison.
No lube.
The game comes around the corner, and it's like, what are you doing? And you're like,
well, because it's like, okay, so this is an optional boss, but there's like a tunnel you go into where you need to like turn on the fucking lights every moon phase. Otherwise, it's too dark to see, and you also have to use like an item to make yourself float so you don't take floor damage every moon phase, or else you know. And there's like 4 demons in this dungeon, and you find like the first 3, and then you can go fight the last guy. And the last guy's gimmick is that he makes like copies of himself. He makes like 3 copies of himself, and you have to figure out which one to hit. Now, I had to look it up because apparently the gimmick is that like, oh, the real one casts a shadow, but he only does it when the Kagutsuchi, the moon phase, is full, and only when it's full. Not like half to full, which would make sense. Only when it's full. So I'm running around his boss room like an idiot, fighting monsters, running in circles for like 3 minutes to get the stupid fucking thing up to full, so I actually have a chance to like hit this guy. And it's just like
I think I skipped that.
I never would have figured that out if I didn't look it up, which is like ridiculous.
Good to know that's optional.
It is optional, yeah, but
I
like
killed one of those guys, and then I was like, "Nah, I'm good, dude. I'm gonna leave." Like that dungeon sucked.
I did not like that dungeon.
So
Also, the fucking puzzle boy thing. It's worth completing because you get like a really good Magatama out of it that gives you like healing magic, but by like the 7th or 8th level out of like 20, I was like, I'm just looking up a guide on how to do these block pushing puzzles because I'm not in the mood to fucking like figure this out for the next 5 hours.
Dude, so I have been playing with the sound off of this game mostly because it's been on like handheld. And so finally the day I played on the TV and was just like listening to all the words, and I'm like, I've been pronouncing all of these words so fucking wrong.
I mean, there's not a lot of voice acting in it. I was just like, I'm assuming it's pronounced Magatama because that's like how the syllables would be pronounced in Japanese. I thought you'd be more surprised by the fucking music, where every song is like,
Yeah,
Is that
one of your bands?
no, it's not like it's not like a screamo band. It's like a really, it's like a computerized, like you remember like the text to speech thing you do on like old computers. It's like that, just yelling shit in the background of the song. So it's like the song is normal, it's like but then like the fucking lyrics like it's just like, what is it saying?
that's what I was bitching about. I was like, God, this song is so dumb.
Well, but it does it on like all the tracks. Like I thought you were referring to one track. It's like all the battle tracks do that.
Yeah, I know. It gets fucking old.
I don't know. I kind of like it. I was listening to it in my car the other day.
Oh my God.
Fucking.
I was just driving around like,
The fucking Amish are like hiding their children when you're driving past them. They're
It's
like,
like I can't tell if like that's the song that I was like, it sounds like the singer is trapped inside of the microphone.
yeah, it's not
Echo
like
hell.
it's not like dog singing Slayer like at the beginning of Final Fantasy X. It's very artificial sounding. It's very clearly text to speech. But I like the soundtrack of this game a lot. It's pretty cool.
I've actually thought about like putting on my list Shin Megami Tensei 5, the one that's coming out this summer. No,
Well, it's already out on Switch, but yeah, they're doing a re-release of it.
no.
It basically like what they did with Persona 5, where they put out like Royal. It's like an extended version essentially.
Oh, okay.
So that's what's coming out this summer. But like you could technically play Shin Megami Tensei 5 on Switch right now.
Right, but I'm playing 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And he's about to discover the joys of Conan Exiles.
I'm so fucking excited.
Were you
I
not
can't-
playing Conan Exiles with us back then?
No.
He's never played it. He's pure.
Oh.
Soon his life will be turned upside down.
Fuck. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go out and buy a fucking PS4 copy of it so I can play with him, because my PlayStation Plus subscription ends in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, mine's over too. I just bought it again because
Yeah.
it was like $60 to renew Plus, or it was $20 to buy Conan on sale.
Well-
and I'm like, I guess I'm just buying it.
Well, because it's like, fucking, I have no reason to have PlayStation Plus anymore, because it's like, I don't have the new console, so the free games mean nothing to me. And I just kind of buy all my PS4 games physically now anyway. So it's like, I'm not getting any of the sales, so that's $70 a year I don't need to be spending. But I have seen Conan Exiles in like the bargain bin at Walmart before, so I can't imagine it's a very expensive title.
I mean, that sounds like it was misplaced.
It was
but
misplaced.
whatever.
It should have been on like a gold pedestal.
Yeah, it should have been
It's like-
locked up.
The best
three
part
different times.
is all those Conan Exiles, like in that discount bin, have the sticker from Black.
Good stuff, Zach.
He doesn't know.
I know. He doesn't hear this part either.
He probably
Yeah,
not.
he's just gone.
Make fun
Wait,
of
why
him
does
for
it?
being frozen.
Yeah. So
I fucking froze.
Yeah, we know.
right on your punchline.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we gave you the same exact response we would have given you anyway, but
So I have been playing Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, but I have not finished it yet.
Thank you, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
So I also have been playing a little bit of. I can't remember if Schweiss said he played Cruisin' Blast at the arcade.
yeah, I played it.
So I got it on Switch for like $20 at
What game?
Walmart. Cruisin' Blast. You know the Cruisin' like USA games? It's like a new one of those.
No.
And it's really simple and really dumb and really fun. That's all I really have to say. It's just dumb, fun arcade racing. You can unlock like a fucking school bus and a unicorn, and you're just racing through like Rio de Janeiro and fucking the Mojave Desert and all that shit.
I love when they put made-up locations in these racing games, like Rio de Janeiro and Mojave Desert.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So that's kind of it. I haven't really been doing a lot of gaming lately.
All right, so the real question, anybody beat a game these weeks?
I didn't play any games last week, if that's what you're asking me, because I never got half the fun.
You never got.
Oh,
I mean-
did we forget to ask you what you were playing?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Oh man, never
It's
mind.
always the fucking brown person. You guys are dicks.
Man, I bet you by the end of summer, I'm gonna be more brown than you are.
I bet you're not. The only thing I've been playing is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne.
That's
I
it.
didn't get a lot. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of time to play games last week. It's pretty busy, but
Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne would never take advantage of our innate gullibility.
where are you finding me?
There was an old sketch on X Play. I think it was like 2005 or 2006, and it was like, what were you going to vote for the best RPG that year? And they did like a political campaign where it was like, Kingdom Hearts 2 has screwed us again. Where was Kingdom Hearts 2
I've
during
seen that.
Hurricane Katrina? And then the wife's like, we could vote for Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
Fuck.
So
So that's what I've been playing. I feel like Shin Megami Tensei 3 is like an abusive partner. I just keep going back. So
you just keep going back, and it's just Jack Frost saying hee ho, and then like slapping your dick.
I'm just like I can't trust you to like help me like have for this to work. And it goes, no, it's okay, you'll be fine. And then it 2 hours later beats my ass, and I have to restart. And I'm like, well, nothing changed.
I still like that joke where I said, what if you opened up your girl's legs and all you heard was, welcome to the Cathedral of Shadows where demons gather.
Yeah.
I feel like Schweiss could like cosplay that guy. Just put on like some like circle sunglasses and like a weird hat and a robe, and you're kind of
That means when we review the game, Schweiss has to dress up like that guy for the review.
Yeah, I'm gonna dress up like the Demi Fiend. I'm gonna get glowing tattoos all over myself.
You should. That'd be great.
Yeah. Or no, and then Joe can dress up as even though Joe didn't play it, Joe can dress up as metrosexual Ben Shapiro, the like villain guy.
Oh, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. Well, you could pull it off. You've dressed as a.
I don't.
You've pulled it off before. No, he wears like a fucking like. He's wearing like a designer suit and like pants like that match with like a V cut down.
Yeah,
all the
what
way.
a gay boy.
Kinda, yeah. If you if I
Wears
pulled,
pants that match.
no, but
and a
like it's
good
like
suit.
no, it's he looks like a
his
fucking JoJo's
freaking
Bizarre
hat.
Adventure character. He's wearing like a jacket with a pattern and the pants match. And it's just like it looks like he walked out of a fucking fashion magazine, but he's got like the hairline of Vegeta. So that's weird. Not sure where to go with
Zach,
that one, I
did you-
guess.
You guys beat
I didn't
anything?
beat. I didn't beat anything. I'm still playing shit in Megami Tensei 3.
I beat.
Stop playing other games.
I beat Cruise and Blast.
Just
Well, you said it, Zach. You said it.
I beat Cruise and Blast.
he just the shit-eating grin on his face. I was just trying to keep reading. It's the best part.
And I also beat. Wait, did I talk about beating Hamtaro Ham Hams Unite?
No.
Yeah, I beat Hamtaro Ham Hams Unite. That was like weeks ago at this point.
No, A4, keep playing games because when I get to play, you beat these other games and I'm like, oh, I'm this far in Shin Megami. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like right behind you. That's perfect.
And I also beat Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color.
Why would you play that?
Because it's awesome. It's an RPG. It's a tennis RPG.
Why would you play
You
that?
you go to the tennis academy and then you do these training exercises and your guy gets XP and you can level up your stroke and your spin and your top spin and your slice and your
To be
smash.
fair, no, the only
Dude, this
reason,
sounds really fucking gay.
No, dude, it's awesome. It's so fucking
Every
cool.
one of those is
I
an
mean,
innuendo.
here's the thing. How are you going to level up your stroke? Playing Mario Tennis or like Joe did, jacking it to that poster of the Terminator? Like, how are you leveling up your stroke and which one's a gayer? I'll tell you which one. It's Mario.
By the way, Drew is in the chat saying, gotta kick A4 off the podcast for playing other games.
God, sometimes. But then I'm like, there's only a few episodes left.
yeah.
We're just ensuring that the time in between episodes is longer and longer and longer.
Our goal is to be a year between episodes. So when they're like,
Oh, man. That'll be easy on Conan.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
is it really that long?
Dude.
It's a long game,
'cause
dude.
The resource gain in Conan is already way too low and way too slow, but twice I guarantee we'll turn it down just so it lasts longer.
Twice. No.
He's like, what if you only got
Slow
2
burn.
coal from a coal node every time?
Yeah. I'm not talking 2 per hit. I'm talking
2.
2.
Yeah.
Think how much more Conan we would have.
That's wrong, dude. When I played a single player for I don't know how many hours, I put everything to max, and it's still not a short game. You go and you fill your shit up, and then you still build your shit. It's still long as fuck. You don't need that stuff to be any slower than it is already. But whatever.
Even with the resource gain and everything turned all the way up, breaking a thrall on the Wheel of Pain still takes 72 in-game days. So it's I'm exaggerating, but it feels like it might as well take that.
Just have to get yourself a named taskmaster, and you'll cut that in half.
Yeah, true.
It'll be a mere month to break a thrall.
A mere month. I can see when he talks about it that he transports himself back to the exile.
There's a reason that we saved this as the last review, Zach. This isn't a game. This is a fucking life.
No,
this is a life
bullshit,
choice.
because we were gonna end with Shin Megami Tensei 3, and then we were like, oh, you know what would be really funny is if we played Conan Exiles, and it's not funny. It's bullshit now. Is what
What we ought to do as well? We ought to tack on all the other Conan talk over the years to that episode and make it a 12-hour fucking Nude Clan episode.
Can someone more dedicated than any of us please go through the last 3 years of podcasts and get a Conan supercut made?
If we're gonna do that, we have to have it spread out through the episode. So it'd be us talking about the game and then be like, do you remember when we talked about it like this? And then and then it puts that episode in.
But we have a shitty framing device where it's just well, we're all stuck inside this 4x4 encampment in Conan in the Exiled Lands, and there's a sandstorm and there's a purge outside. Let's all talk about our favorite memories of the Exiled Lands. Well, and then who could that be at the door? And it's oh, it's Caleb Craig. Come in. Tell us about your favorite memories. Whoa, dude, I remember.
Well, here's the best part about this idea is then the listener can't skip to the actual review because it's all the way through it. And we're not going to put start here, episode restarts here. It just goes.
Oh, man, that's pretty genius. I just want to see how long we can make it. Yeah, I just want to see how long we can make it fucking last. You thought the review was long. Just wait till you play the game.
And then right before we actually like beat the game and talk about like beating it, we just do we loop this one in about doing that, and then we start the episode over.
Yeah, it's 20. Yeah. So it's like 48 hours long, and then at the end we go. By the way, if you've been playing Conan Exiles while listening to this, it's your thrall is like 1/4 done cooking. So put this on 3 more times, and he'll be ready to go.
Yeah. We made the episode exactly as long as it takes to cook a name.
Bring it through all.
There's got to be like some way we can make it so you can't even listen to the episode until you have beaten Conan Exiles. Like there's got to be some way to like verify it. Like the file doesn't unlock until it like detects that you've cleared the game or something.
Yeah.
That's their prize for getting out of the lands. It's perfect.
Yeah.
You don't even really get out of the lands because the first thing that happens after you get out of the game is that you just go right back in.
Yeah, it's like it brings you to the character creation screen, and I'm like, damn, hell yeah! And I started it again. It's like, fuck yeah, man, we're going back, baby.
If there's one thing I love more than spending time in the exiled lands, it's starting over from zero.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, if no one beat anything else.
Yeah. Shall we talk about
the movie we watched in our home ec class?
Hold on. I want Joe to explain how badly I'm whooping all your asses at beating games this year.
For Joe to explain.
Well, who's got the numbers?
I do.
Okay.
So, it's always been twice.
Send the file over to Joe and then have him say it.
It's never not been twice. What the fuck, A4?
They're the same guy to me at this point.
Yeah. So, A4, King Hog, 10 games beaten. I'm in second place with 4. Zach and Joe bringing up the rear, 2 games apiece.
Now it's bringing up Joe's rear.
Joe,
that's all been Final Fantasy VII Rebirth time?
Joe, the Steam summer sale's coming up. I'm sure you could knock out a few games like Sex with Hitler or Anti-Hitler or...
Well, I beat all the Kingdom Hearts games in like... I beat all the Kingdom Hearts games in like 2 weeks. Just like...
Should have waited till this year, I guess.
What do you mean? That's all I've beaten.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
almost 5 months in.
That's what I'll do while we're playing Conan Exiles. I'll buy a shit ton of hentai games and just hurry and beat them.
Honestly, not a bad use of your time.
It's not. It's not.
What are you doing? You grinding that Wheel of Pain, Zach? Yeah! And you just tab over to Honey Pop or whatever the fuck.
Grinding something.
Well, this is the second to last video game movie on our list. Dead Trigger. It's a film, is what Wikipedia calls it. 2017 American science fiction action horror film directed by 2 people, Mike Cuff and Scott Windhauser. Guys, I have a feeling that you guys skipped over the Deadline article I sent you about this movie.
No, I read it. I replied to it. Dude, that was nuts.
I skipped over it. But yes, regale the audience.
My favorite part from the article is when they interview like one of like the dudes of the film like production whatever dude, and he's like, it wasn't even real. They didn't mean it. And then it pans over to another director from the movie. He's like, nah, dude, they fucking tried to kill us on ours, and it was the same people. It's like, oh.
Yeah, they were filming in Mexico, and apparently there were some problems with the cartel. And
they weren't paying the people working on it.
They weren't paying their drivers, their Mexican drivers. And the director, one of the 2 credited directors in this, only directed for 2 days, and then
was fired.
I think he was fired, and then he says that he still owed money from the production company and was trying to sue him. So that was another piece of news. So that was Mike Cuff, by the way.
I read on IMDb that he left the project due to like creative differences, whether or not he got fired, I don't know.
But so did the article. if you read the article, that's what the people said. Like they were
Right.
like it was amicable, but he was like, I'm not fucking talking about this. Essentially, is what he said.
Yeah, I had
which
a
makes me
feeling-
think it is not amicable. It is that being like, we didn't do anything wrong. It was a friendship, and it's like. no,
I have a feeling it was something like that, but also like apparently the company that like made the original game also like disavowed this movie, so like they just have nothing to do with it after that point.
Hey man, I bet this movie's better than their game. I'm just gonna say it. I had a fun time watching this movie. Which
I have heard of
in a
this
while.
movie. I don't even know what this game looks like.
Yeah, I don't
Never heard of
either.
the game before.
Jake was like, "What is this based on?" I'm like, "Dead Trigger." I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't
It's
know
a
what the
zombie.
movie is.
Not even Jake knew like the game.
Not even
Like, I feel
Jake
like-
knew.
I
Yeah,
feel
he's like,
Jake
"What the
did so
fuck
many
is
games
that?"
that, like, he'd be like, "Oh, Dead Trigger, this so and so 2007 game, this and this." Because usually, if you talk to Jake about games, he knows games. Like,
Oh, I guess it's a first-person shooter. I never would have guessed that in a million fucking years, but
yeah, never ever would have guessed that from the zombie.
I thought it would have been like one of those mobile games where it's like those flash games where it's just like a bunch of dingy looking tents and like
They specifically had a shot of an Xbox 360 in this game, and
Yeah.
you think that it was not on the Xbox 360? You thought it was a mobile game?
well, no,
There's
apparently,
way.
it was on fucking
It is.
VR headsets.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
weird.
Nah, that was dumb as fuck. But
That I think is insane. But yeah,
what is this movie even called? Because I have this like the sweet Samsung TV.
On Amazon, it says Dead Trigger, but when you play
Okay.
the game, it says Dead Trigger like unkillable
Unkilled.
or something like that.
Yeah,
apparently,
but
I was
then
doing some research. Apparently, like Unkilled is like the third game.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's
what
not
is
called
Zombie
Dead
Shooter? Is
Trigger.
that the
Yeah.
fourth game? Because the movie has 3 titles: Dead Trigger, which is what it said at the beginning; Dead Trigger Unkilled, which is what it said when the movie was over. And I was like, wait a minute, what movie are we watching here? And then if you search on your Samsung TV for Dead Trigger, it comes up with the exact same movie saying Dolph Lundgren in Zombie Shooter. So I don't know what the fuck. And it's the same movie, but I'm like, why has it got so many names? Like, this movie must
So they
have
don't
some
have
serious
to,
fucking
it's
problems.
so they don't have to pay their staff. They're like, we didn't make enough money to pay you back, but then released it under 5 different names to be able.
Well,
Yeah, I'm like, how many studios have hot potatoed this motherfucker around?
So apparently the game is like Czech, and I don't know if it's called Dead Trigger over there. Maybe it's called something different. Like, you know, where they have like sometimes they'll have like regional name differences in like
yeah, like
Europe,
Resident
US.
Evil versus Biohazard, which is
that
a
one's
way
that one's
cooler
bullshit.
name.
That one's bullshit because fucking they couldn't call it Biohazard here because there's like a punk band called Biohazard.
Yeah, you just got to get high and then think about the name Resident Evil, and then it makes like a ton of sense.
I still
But
think
then when you
Resident Evil is
sober-
still a really cool name. I don't give a fuck.
I think Resident
Once
Evil's a
you-
cool name too, honestly.
Once
But
you sober
Biohazard
up, you
is the
forget. You forget what like the deep meaning of Resident Evil is.
Yeah, but then like I don't know. There's other weird ones like Drakengard, the series that like went on to become Nier. In Japan, it's called Drag on Dragoon. So like, you know.
Yeah, the Japanese are just fools with their names, dude.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
swear.
You don't like Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD Final Chapter Prologue and a Fragmentary Passage. The Dead Poets Society or whatever the fuck that new Taylor Swift album's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's got like a billion fucking names. I would have to assume it's like a regional thing just because like I don't know. This movie was apparently screened at like the Moscow Film Festival in 2017. It didn't get released here until 2019, which is when it got its theatrical limited release and was like released on video on demand.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it had a different name over in like Russia and sort of like the the European countries back in 2017
maybe.
before it got brought over here. I'm not sure. And like I said,
I mean,
I've never heard of this fucking game, so who knows what the fuck it's called in its original country.
Yeah. Dude, it was... Man, I was laughing kind of a lot in this movie, and which is... You know, I didn't get in Assassin's Creed. I didn't laugh once. Like...
Well, because
not
like...
even once.
I was thinking it the whole time. Like this movie feels like a higher budget version of a Neil Breen movie, or like I guess you could say it feels almost like weirdly like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, where it's like, okay, like something's off. Well, there's a lot off, but like clearly these people like wanted to make a movie, but like they don't really have like the roadmap to get there. They just know what the end product is supposed to kind of look like. Like there was a very The Room style like dialogue exchange early on where they're like at the zombie training camp or whatever, and then like the one guy like mentions, I don't remember what the exact line was, but the one guy like mentions something, and then the other guy mentions like something completely different, and then the other guy goes back to what they were talking about a minute ago. Like it reminded me of like the thing in the flower shop where he's just like, "Oh, hi Johnny, I didn't even recognize you. You're my favorite customer. Hi doggy." Like that weird jumbled up sequence of fucking lines. It kind of reminded me of that, but it's not as bad. But like in terms of like the visual effects, yeah, where they're like running around with like the machetes and just the really shitty like PNG blood effects that are just superimposed over people pretending to get stabbed.
If you look when they get shot in the face too, it's just like they just like CGI'd or like MS painted a fucking splat on their face and you can see right through it.
Dude,
like it does not look good.
When they're in the zombie training camp and that guy has the like he's twirling the shotgun around, and then like the world's slowest
in the movie
zombie is coming at him, and suddenly he's like, "Oh," and he drops the shotgun, and like it's facing like at like a 45-degree angle in front of him, but it still blows his head off at a 90-degree angle. And
I wasn't ready for that.
No,
I laughed real hard.
I thought
at that.
I thought like some trap got set off where like he got shot by the zombie because again the gun was not facing where his head was, but I guess they just only had room for one take, and they're like, "Fuck it, we'll make it work."
Yeah.
My note on that, I was like, why is he twirling the fucking gun? Never mind. Because, like, I was in the middle of typing it, and then his fucking face was blown off, and I was like, oh.
That was actually remarkable, subtle blocking in that scene, because I was like, why is that guy fucking pointing? He's just pointing the gun, and, like, I thought it was an ad-lib from, like, the guy behind him that kind of, like, shoves the gun away from him, or he's like, hey, don't point that at me, basically. And it was like pretty subtle, and then the next guy, he's like pointing it at, like, I think it's Dolph Lundgren in that scene, he's pointing it at the instructor's face, and then he accidentally blows his own head off. I was like, oh wow, that movie had some thought put into that scene. That was
the one thought in this movie.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, one of my favorite lines in this movie, though, is in the beginning when they're talking. He's like, expositioning the apocalypse, and he's like, "Many died, or wouldn't."
Yeah, I had that written down. I like audibly. I had like chicken wings in my mouth, and I was like, "Whoa, what?" Like
that was funny. I was sitting there and I was like, "This movie has no right to drop such a good line."
Dude,
man, I kind of wish it would have been Sylvester Stallone.
I love it.
I wish it would have been Sylvester Stallone instead.
It could have been the Expendables, dude.
Yeah, because like, can you imagine that line delivered by Stallone? A lot of people died. I wouldn't. I don't fucking know anymore.
Like the fucking, like the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie has just some absolutely gold line reading where it's just like,
oh, dude. Sorry, I'm agreeing with you. I apologize.
Well, no, because like they cut to the Asian kid and he's playing video games up in his room that like you can tell he likes guitars because he's got a bunch of unframed PNGs of guitars printed out on his wall. Like there's just like a picture of a Les Paul and a picture of a fucking SG, and it's like, okay, I guess he likes guitars,
dude. When the guy's like, these are your friends now, and it's like a vest and like a weapon, and they're just pictures of a vest. And a weapon.
Yeah. In the base, they just have like literally just like Google gun and then just take like the stock footage gun picture.
Yeah, which is wild.
No frame.
Because their body armor in this is fucking paintball armor.
Dude,
they're like BMX like shit.
It's like
and it's
Spirit
like you
Halloween
just put
armor.
that up, and it's fine. Other talking about the acting, my other note on here is, as with all these movies, the acting is phenomenal. And that was from when the lady's like, so-and-so called and left a message, and she's like, well, what did they say? Oh, they said that they found like the markers. Why didn't you lead with that? Oh, I'm sorry. And that's exactly how that is how that entire scene
Dude, there are
dialogue.
There are a few scenes in this where like it hangs on Dolph Lundgren finishing his line and they don't cut, like, and he looks around almost as if like, are we done with this shot? Like there's a scene in the helicopter where he's like, we're gonna go get him, and he just looks over the one guy's like,
and he does the head nod.
Yeah. There's like another one during the zombie training camp where he does that too.
Please cut. Please cut.
It's like no, so that makes me think of the end of the movie where he's like, "Hey Walker," and then he looks at him and he just goes,
You just head nods.
and then
Yeah, and I was like,
And see, because like
that was actually him walking off the set for his last day.
Yeah.
And like he just said, you know what, this line sucks. I'm not gonna deliver it. I'm just gonna fucking nod and walk away.
Scene they filmed before the fucking like the cartel was coming, so they couldn't like change it. Like this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
Honestly, when
I
you
was
think about
like,
it in the context of they were trying to get the fuck out of there so they didn't get killed, a lot of the like, why do they use this take makes a lot more sense in retrospect. I'm gonna give a really brief story synopsis for people because no one knows what this fucking game is. Basically, zombie outbreak, except this movie never really shows any of like the consequences of that. There's just people in like clubs and like boxing and fitness clubs and like people just playing video games in their house. Like I thought there was a zombie outbreak. What's going on here?
So okay, so
the
real
world
quick,
makes
that's
no
part
sense.
Part of my notes, I was like, the zombie apocalypse is more of a nuisance than an actual apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. But also, going back to the boxing club real quick, I like how the dude, so it introduces the character, I don't remember her name because she's stupid, but she like is like the dude that's like, oh, she wins. Bro, he was dressed just like John Hammond from Jurassic Park. With his white like shirt, white pants,
yeah, with
and
like
his
the
little,
cabana,
hat.
and fuck yeah.
I was like, John Hammond owns a boxing club and solicits sex.
No expense
because he's
was
like,
spared.
we can.
Yeah, good stuff, Zach. Thank you, Zach's internet.
What Zach is trying to say, he's like, maybe we could figure out some other way to pay, and then she like headbutts him in like a very like, wow, this movie is really good kind of way. But I also like how like every single scenario that's happening in the beginning of the movie where like there's imminent violence about to occur, like she's running away from the guys in the fitness club because she like, you know, she like stole the money or whatever, and then there's like a cop immediately outside. He's like, I'm gonna take you in, and then like the guys from the CSU, I think it's like the Contagion something whatever, like they just show up and immediately like end all conflict. Like there was that other scene where that black guy's about to get fucking killed over that drug and then these guys just show up and all the gangbangers are just like, oh shit, and they're like, we want to hire you to fight zombies because you play video games or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but it's like, how's this guy getting chased in the middle of the street if there's a zombie apocalypse happening? Like the world. And like, there's a functioning economy still because the company that makes all the guns is the one that's finding that there's a cure possible. And I'm like, how is there an economy in this world? Like, everything should have fallen to pieces like immediately.
Well, because like
a zombie outbreak,
there's a zombie outbreak, but like they never really ever show it except for the one island where the entire movie takes place. But like. That fucking company, I think it's called Cyglobe, or as that one Russian guy says later in the movie, Cyglob. Like he yells it. By the way, that was also a brilliant line read. They're on that island and like they go into like the one building and there's just a zombie stripper just doing her thing on the stripper pole because that's what a zombie would do. And he just like says like very flatly, I would not like to have a lap dance from that girl. It's so great.
Yeah, so it's like a bunch of kids that are brought into a program to help fight the zombies. And that's the plot as far as
that
I
is
can
the
tell.
plot.
Is there anything else to that? Like a bunch of characters that you get about a second with, and they really like they spend a lot of time with the instructor Dolph Lundgren, and a random priest guy.
Now, I did some research after this. I was looking up the Wikipedia article for the actual game, and apparently, I guess Dolph Lundgren's like the main character, and the priest is like a pretty central character in the actual game. Not that you would know, because he gets like barely anything to do in this movie, and then just dies. He's just like, I have a hostage. I think I'll get drunk. And then he talks to the hostage, and the hostage is like, let me go. And he's like, okay. And then he does, and then he just kills him. And it's like, I don't really know what you thought was going to come out.
That was really stupid. Like in a movie full of stupidity, that was fucking one of the dumbest.
What I loved about the scenes at the church was they're making a big deal about, oh, we have this truck and we can use that to get out of here, but like we can't use the truck because we don't have any way to defend ourselves once we're on the truck, even though it is then revealed later that the priest had a shotgun underneath the altar the entire time, possibly more guns, we don't know. And then like what Dolph Lundgren is like, they get the truck running and there's like zombies very slowly coming from behind them, and Dolph Lundgren says to the kid, like, or he says to all the people inside, like, I'll pull around front. So once they get the truck working, they pull around front, which is maybe 30 feet total. Like they in one panning shot, they drive forward, they turn right, and then they stop in front of the building. And it's like,
I think 30 feet is generous. It's like 15. You just like, and you're just like,
yeah.
I laugh.
None of the
like,
world makes sense.
Like it's literally like the fucking. It's like a comedy movie shot where it's like, you see a guy get in a car. Did they do a scene like that in The Jerk where he's like he hitchhikes with the guy and he's like, oh, I'm getting off here, and it's like literally 5 feet from where he started. It might as well be that.
Yeah,
like
it's or like the Monty Python scene where the guy's like running, and then he just keeps like being further and further and further away. Like, it's reminiscent of that to me. It's just, so dumb.
Fuck God. There's yeah.
Well, one of you guys, I can't remember, I just like logged back in, said something about you getting like 2 seconds with like each person.
You get about 2 seconds with each of the characters,
So in the first 17
and
minutes...
they're supposed to have some witty banter between each other that doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, the witty banter is just like, drinks are on you next time. No, they're not. Like, it might as well be that.
The two people died within 17 minutes of the movie, of the main guy, like the people we were supposed to be following. The one guy got his arm cut off, so I don't know if he died. But what I noticed is, so they killed like a bunch of people died within the first 38 minutes of the movie. They killed all of the brown people.
Yeah,
off.
the black guys definitely died first.
And it was just the white people the rest of it, and I laughed so hard at that because I was like, oh, like they didn't even try.
Well, it's
like when they're in there, Asian dude gets thrown against a wall and dies.
It dies. They don't really establish that he died.
The woman breaks her leg, and it's just her screaming, and it's like, you didn't even hit your leg when you fucking hit that.
Yeah, they pull her across the floor, and she like kind of hits a pillar and spins around, and then she's like, my leg's broken.
And then the one dude, G-Dog, or whatever the fuck it says his nickname is like, and like, get back here, and it just fucking pulls him out of the frame. And then they systematically took out all of the ethnicity of this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
from the Russian guy.
The one black cop guy, or whatever.
Is Russian a person of color now, Zach?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, okay. I need to be up to date.
Everyone but Americans are people of color to me.
Yeah, I loved that line that he gave when he picked that fucking zombie up and chucked it down the stairs. He's like, have a nice flight. I laughed real hard at that one.
I was dying at that scene because that same zombie extra was down in the lobby. She had a very noticeable pink sweater, and they're down in the lobby, and they all run upstairs, and then she's just up there, and to make it worse, he picks this zombie woman up and throws her, after giving a one-liner, throws her at a bunch of other zombies, and they all fall down the stairs like dominoes.
It's like rolling. You're like,
it wasn't played for comedic effect, like there was no sound effect or anything, but like it's what it might as well have been.
But you have fucking imagined. This movie is essentially like, you know when they had like the scary movies franchise and they were like, oh, action movie, oh, like date movie.
It's called
like,
a parody.
This could have been zombie movie, and it would have made just as much sense, and it would have been better for that. Because I'd have been like, oh, this makes sense.
Well, because like the way they frame like
Makes
people
sense.
dying in this is so funny. Like you said, the one black guy goes like, oh, and then he runs in through the hole in the wall, and they basically just have like a zombie extra grab him from like off, like from within the hole. Like you just see his arms, and then they just pull the guy, and that's the last we see of him. Like he got yanked off the stage by a fucking cane, and it's like, okay, sure.
Guess he's dead.
I felt the same way about the grenade deaths in this too. Like every time a grenade goes off, they just have a bucket full of dirt and rocks, and they're like,
Yeah, that would have been Joe's favorite shots. Just like, hey, can I throw the dirt at you guys? I'm gonna throw this bucket of dirt at you.
so funny.
As one of the main guys is trying to rizz up Pussface McGee with the teeth of a beaver.
So I was trying to figure out why she looked familiar. I think she's in Starship Troopers 3. Like, there's a few people in this movie. There's the
You're talking about the blonde gal?
Yes, the blonde gal with the sword. Who like when the recruiters pull up on her, they don't even say anything. She just turns towards them, and it's like they give her a file number. Like, yeah, she just joined sight unseen. Who gives a fuck? Like she's just sitting under an underpass, being mopey.
So I'm pretty sure she's in Starship Troopers 3, and she's like the religious chick. That's like, God's on our side, he hates bugs at the end of the movie. But I'm pretty sure the Russian dude is the KGB agent in Predators as well.
Oh.
Like, I was like watching, I was like, that guy looks familiar too, and I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure he's in Predators.
Because I thought the scientist girl that they rescue, I thought that was the chick from Chun-Li. It's not. And then the black guy who throws the zombie, I thought was the black dude from Assassin's Creed. It's not. So
you're just racist.
I am against minorities and women. Yeah,
I could be wrong with mine. Honestly, I just like saw it and I was like, they look familiar, and I think this is why.
But yeah, no, like for like the first like 10 minutes that she's on screen, the blonde girl with the sword just has like the meanest puss face on every single scene until she kind of starts like lightening up, and then when she does, she opens her mouth and she looks like Pot of Greed from Yu-Gi-Oh. Like she's got the biggest teeth in the world.
Fuck.
Okay.
You don't really know where to go from that one, huh?
No, I don't. I do like. It's really when I'm watching this movie, and I don't know, 2 minutes into it, I'm like, oh no, I know what kind of movie this is. And
when you see the muzzle flashes are just PNGs for a frame superimposed on all the guns that are firing.
I think it was the fake commercial where everybody's standing in a row, like shooting at really fake-looking zombies, and the zombies stay that fake-looking the whole time. It's not just a training video thing.
Yes.
And I saw the lack of contrast in the image, and it basically looks like it was shot on an iPhone. Like, I was just looking at this movie, and I was hearing the sound design, and I was like, oh no, this is a movie on my budget level. That's where I was at. And so when I was watching this, I was like, I don't know if I can go onto the podcast and make fun of this, because, I mean, these guys are trying. It's hard to make a movie. It's hard to make a movie with what looks like about $50,000, a zombie movie, like $50,000.
Move that decimal point about 3 spaces to the left, and you're about right.
And I, with that in mind, I was like, I kind of felt bad watching it and being like making fun of this. Like, it's not like some giant Hollywood movie where they pumped a bunch of money into something that was like a failure from the get out. Like, this was like,
it's not Assassin's Creed.
This is a scrappy crew just trying to make a fun movie, and Dolph Lundgren's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you guys raise funds for a movie with my name on it.
I need money.
Yeah, I need a couple bucks. And then they have a gal that I recognize from Entourage, this Autumn Reeser gal.
Doesn't Dolph Lundgren have is he the one with a shit ton of like master's degrees and stuff?
I don't know much about him, but I know he's in one of the Rocky movies.
He's in like he's Ivan Drago, right?
Yeah. I think he's got like a shit ton of masters, which is crazy to me that he still fucking did this after supposedly being that smart.
No, but he's like one of those people like Steven Seagal or like Jean-Claude Van Damme, where he's like, he'll just be in any shitty action movie
As long as you pay him his day rate. That's like Danny Trejo's thing. Is
Yeah.
like just pay.
I fucking love Danny Trejo.
Just pay him the $3,000 a day, and he'll be in your movie. Like, you know, and a lot of actors just like to act, and they like to be given the opportunity. They don't want to wait a ton of time between acting gigs. And then some actors, and I don't know about Dolph Lundgren's position, some actors are trying to earn a paycheck doing this, and again, they just have to take whatever jobs are out there for them. So. And in that respect, I do. My heart goes out to some of these people. I also, because of something that you said earlier today when you were like, "Oh, City of St. George was thanked in the credits," and I was like, what?"
Yeah.
So I read in that Deadline article where they were talking about them escaping Mexico and then having to finish the rest of the movie in Nevada. I didn't think that there would be a St. George connection. I saw the mountains in the background, and I was like, that looks kind of close to here. It was Nevada. You know, the mountains are going to look kind of similar to what they are around where I live. But like, when you said St. George, I was like, I bet I know someone who knows some people who worked on this. And yes, the friend that I texted a few minutes ago saying, "Hey, random question. City of St. George was listed as a thank you for the movie Dead Trigger starring Dolph Lundgren. Do you know anybody who worked on that?" 2 people were listed out that are that I have seen around before. I don't really know these people, but one of them worked on the makeup department for this movie. Probably for the zombie stuff, looking at some of their work. So looking at this movie, it was like I could tell that it's just no money, and the screenplay, I think they probably had like a smarter screenplay, and when they realized they had no money, they had to just film it in locations that they had, and then they had to make up a bunch of lines to fill in like the holes in the script. That's what it felt like to me. And then the quality of direction and the quality of the cinematography and the sound design are just not up to snuff. They have about the same kind of production quality as like a YouTube video. Yeah. So like it just suffers in all aspects just because it is so low budget, and I don't know who did the cinema. The cinematography is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's like non-professional looking at all.
Terrible.
But yeah, I was. This movie was something, and I don't know if I could go through and rip on it too much. There was one part. I mean, the guy shooting himself in the face with a shotgun was hilarious, and then the other part where the army sends in what was probably the most expensive shot in the movie. Sends in like 2 jets that fly by the zombies, and then Dolph Lundgren goes, "They're distracted, let's go."
Yeah,
and like because the zombies apparently when they hear a jet they all look up, and then everybody else is able to run away from the zombies, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. I laughed about that for about 5 minutes.
Really funny. If you look at that shot too before, they're like surrounding them, and then it pans to them firing in the front, and it shows them like straight on, and there's no zombies behind them anymore. And then when it goes back up in the air again, there's zombies behind them again.
Well, I was laughing more at the fact that like as they run into that scene, the zombies are making a nice clean line that they're running through, and then the zombies kind of all correlate around them.
Yeah, I loved the "Ready for War" song. I was like,
my
man,
God.
I feel like
Ready for war.
I feel like somebody really loved that song, and that's what made the movie get made.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, no, I definitely know where they did save some money when they had that fight scene in that pallet factory. And I'm just seeing the name of the company on like every single box that they're fighting. And I'm like, man, Cargo Glide must have been like, yeah, we'll let you use our pallet factory for a fight scene if you don't take all these logos out of the fucking movie so we can get some advertising. And it's like, we don't even have the budget to take that out of the fucking shots, so you're good.
Oh, they're like, deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did feel like worse than a Joe movie, like the first one. It's definitely it made me laugh in the same ways, because then like the oh man, like this does not work kind of ways. But
Joe, how does it feel that your film is better than Dead Trigger?
I mean,
Is that good or bad?
I don't know, because that is what I thought. I was like, oh man, my first movie is about this. It has about the same amount of ambition with about the same amount of budget per ambition,
But no,
like the same the same ambition budget ratio. Like it's really off. So I could see that. I could definitely feel that. That's why when I was watching, I was like, oh, I feel for you. This is like, this is. They're trying, they're trying. I think A4's comment at the beginning of this episode, where this is like the greatest student film ever made. I think that's kind of about the quality that you're asking for. It's like it's a big, long, same quality from like a student film from like a state college. That's what that feels like.
I'm not trying to be super mean, but this literally feels like a fucking Nostalgia Critic movie. Like it feels like a Channel Awesome movie where they kind of just got like everyone together in a hotel room and just kind of filmed what they could. Like when they're panning over it, it's like, ooh, the CSU base, location unknown, and it's like, well, it's definitely known because I can see a bunch of residential buildings in the background, and their base is just like an empty conference hall or something.
Yeah, I laughed pretty hard at that. I was like, all of those little like, here's where we're at things were killing me.
Like I get it. There's only so much they can do with the budget they had, but it's just like
there was a great line that I think Sylvester Stallone would have been even better at. It was, "Man plays God, man creates monster," and then I wish then he would have been like, wait a minute. Man plays God, man creates monster. Man creates Cyclops. Cyclops creates monster. Monster kills man. Monster becomes God. But like it was like a weirdly philosophical moment in this movie. I actually do like Dolph Lundgren's character though. I think he's a good character.
He's like, well, I mean, he's the best actor in this whole thing.
Yeah, because like, and they wrote him in a cool way where like there's the dudes are like picking on his recruits. And in most movies, like, the army commander would be just, like, fuck everybody up. But he's just like, hey, these guys are the future, remember that. And he just, like, commands respect.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's
non-violently.
Like,
and I'm like, man, this guy, he, like, is an actual actor. It's weird. Like, I forget.
Honestly, like, Dolph Lundgren is good, like, in his, like, the roles that he takes. Like, honestly. So, I mean... I wish what could have been, though, now that we were talking about Joe's movie, is that it would have been like everything's the same in Joe's first film, but Sylvester Stallone is the main character, because then it could have been just on par and fucking amazing.
Well, what it sounds like is Joe needs to make the Conan Exiles movie and hire Dolph Lundgren to be Conan the Barbarian.
Look, shut up, man. I already have plans on that.
No, but that you were talking about the scene where they're like in a bar again, like they're in a bar on their base, and there's no zombies around, so it doesn't feel like it's a zombie apocalypse. But like the veteran soldiers come in and they start bullying like these new kids, and it's like they call you Dead Triggers. You know where that name comes from? And to myself, I'm like, does it come from the video game? Because like,
yeah, like I don't know where it comes from. Fuck.
Oh, wait, speaking of which, can we please talk about the ending?
Wait, real quick, before we talk about that, because I have notes on that. When he was like, do you know where dead triggers come from? The trigger for the dead? And he, like, re-explains himself. I thought of, like, that meme with that little kid where it's like, yeah, just wish you wanna, and then you wish you'd wanna, and then you get the one. And I was like, couldn't stop laughing about it, because dude, who was like, you know what the dead triggers are, right? The triggers are the dead, the ones that die when you press the trigger. And I'm like, you sound like a fucking moron.
Dude, there's the part later where the priest has the Russian guy tied up, and then like he duct tapes his mouth, and the Russian guy's like, you need to help yourself, you need to help your community. And then like he says the priest says something, and then the Russian guy basically says the same set of lines again, like almost word for word. And it's like, am I taking crazy pills? Did I rewind the movie? Because at that point my Amazon app on my TV like crashed, so I had to start the movie again at that fucking point. So I wasn't sure like what the hell was going on. Also, I had to rewind it at one point because I'm like, did they say Obama Bridge?
It's
because it's the future.
It was 2025, and I was like, oh yeah,
that movie takes place next year.
One of my notes was, dude, why Russians are always the bad guys? Like, I thought for sure, like, I didn't think anyone was gonna turncoat, but then he does. But then randomly, the twins, he's like, they don't look like twins, and it's like they're not. But like, they just turn bad and they're working for the Globe Tech thing too, and it's like
they have to
why?
be characters. They have to be characters from the game or something, because like one of them has a silver gun and one of them has a gold gun, but like they almost seem like one of those like the twins from like Breaking Bad, where it's like they were never supposed to speak, but because of the way the script was written, one of them had to at some point, and she has the worst accent I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Like no offense to, I'm sure that's just her natural speaking voice, but it's just like
no offense to the person who learned English for this role, but your accent.
You know what? You're
sucks.
right. Good on her for learning a new language to say those like 3 lines where she's like, "We like killing zombies. Maybe you go and we kill zombies with you."
What great makeup too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I love
zombie apocalypse. Joe, what the fuck do you want from them?
Yeah, I love how they took the blackout stuff from like baseball and just put it on their eyes in different spots. Basically, like one was on the eyebrows and one was just like from the crow's feet.
Man, again, I feel bad talking about this movie on my podcast, considering that I am tentatively connected to a couple of people on this movie. So, I had a conversation a few months ago with Jared Cohn over the phone. I still have his number. I don't know. Maybe I should invite him onto the show. Yes, a director. This director has made movies that you have at least heard of.
What movie?
Atlantic Rim.
Movie? Is he the
Atlantic Rim? Is he
the
Transmorphers?
Oh my god, are you serious?
I've never heard of those.
Fucking serious.
But now I'm gonna go. Try to watch that.
What's the name of that company? Joe will know.
Asylum.
Yeah, they make they make rip-off movies basically.
They make rip-off movies for like no money, and then when a movie comes out or came out, I don't know how much business they'd have now without DVD sales being very much.
Oh, you make one
anymore.
that sounds similar, and like when you like end up buying, you're like, fuck.
And then you see
Anaconda, not Anaconda.
No, and then your grandma sees it at Big Lots and buys it for you. Like, I got you Pacific Rim, and it's like
that's exactly right. It's the accidental grandma.
Rim.
It's specific rim. You're like, Grandma, Pacific. Pacific, not specific.
Really quickly, by the way,
would be a porn too.
Not to derail Joe, but like I have the worst example, not the worst example, but I have a weird example of that where like I asked my dad years and years and years ago when I was a kid, I want Advance Wars for the GBA for Christmas, and he ends up getting me Contra Advance, the Alien Wars EX, which is a GBA port of Contra 3 for the Super Nintendo, and I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, anyway, sorry. So you know the Asylum Films guy.
Okay, so I've talked to him. I wouldn't say I know him,
whatever,
but I've talked to him over the phone because I was looking for information about sales agents and stuff for Chicken Coop, which is a much better movie than my first movie, by the way. If anybody watched my first movie, please watch the second one.
Was it Emmanuel's song still on Amazon?
Emmanuel's song is on YouTube. It's not on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Emmanuel's song is just a short, but the Atlantic Rim guy. So I just was emailing for references on a possible sales agent to possibly pick up the movie. And he was like one of the recent people who had worked on there. So I didn't even know he was the Atlantic Rim guy. I was on IMDb Pro, just like looking at recent credits. And I was like, okay, this guy worked with him. And I emailed like 5 different people. And this guy goes like, call me. And I'm like, okay. And so I call him like, hey. And then I ask about the guy. And he's like, oh, he's a good guy, I guess. But really, you shouldn't go to sales agents anymore and producers reps. Everybody has a website now. Just reach out to them directly so that, they don't take like a percentage of your profits or whatever. And he sounded like he was either really tired or he'd been smoking marijuana or something. But the guy gave me like really fucking fantastic advice. Like really like solid, good advice, just like, and then he recommended a couple different companies to work with, and then I got his book. Like, after I talked to him, I was like, oh, thank you. And I was like, that was really, really nice of him to answer a random email and then let me call him, and then he talked to me for like 20 minutes and talked about like the distribution side of things with movies. And then I listened to his book. The dude has he's basically directed movies like this where they have like no budget, like action fare that they shoot in like 14 days, and they just do it over and over and over again. So when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, this is like watching one of those where it's just like they had no time to make this movie, but the production company was able to wrangle just enough money together to make a movie and then be able to sell it, or they know they're going to have like a certain amount of rental income on it down the line, so that it's like a good business opportunity for them. It also reminded me of like the Aerostorm Entertainment people who used to make a bunch of movies up north that I have an uncredited costume credit for Mythica, which I believe has James Marsters in it, or like the Hercules guy, one of those like famous
Kevin
TV
Sorbo?
guys. Yeah, Kevin Sorbo. So it's in that category of movie. What's surprising to me is that this had a limited theatrical release, because this is definitely in that category of like, this was made for no money. People, you know, whoever did the zombie makeup and the 12 extras that they reused over and over again, you know, they were trying their best. I cannot shit on them too much. They were trying their best. I understand it. I watch movies like these at the local film festivals that get in, you know. You see like some random like action movie or horror movie that someone tried to do, and god damn it, they're trying with what they got, and that's what I can say to that.
It's
kind of thing.
like honestly, dude, like, and not really in a bad way, but
it feels bad. It feels sorry. One more like
okay.
one more kind of metaphor or simile here is it's like a, you know, like a high school student or a junior high school student when they write their first novel and you read it and it's bad, but they tried. You know, it's bad, but they tried so hard with what they had, with the little experience of that. That's what this movie is. Some of the actors have a lot of experience. I don't think the fucking crew had like any experience.
I mean, looking at the IMDb for some of these actors, like a lot of them did not.
Well, Autumn Reeser and Dolph Lundgren specifically.
This what I was gonna say though is this feels like a sci-fi movie, like Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Like that's what this feels like. And I mean, here's the thing: would I rewatch this again? No, absolutely not. I want my $3 back from Amazon, honestly. But like, it feels like something that like on like a shit. Like I'm at home I'm a teenager. I'm at home by myself. I'm just vegging out because life is like whatever.
You see rated R, you assume there's going to be tits in it. You watch it and you're disappointed.
Or it's like right after football. It's like right after football practice. I'm like tired. I'm laying on the couch before my second practice of the day, and I'm like flipping through, and I just land on Sci-Fi, and I'm eating like my breakfast, and it's just this shitty movie, and I'm like, okay.
No, but like,
like this is where I'm at right now.
In the weirdest way, because a lot of the like main cast is, I guess they're supposed to be like kids of some denomination. I guess like young teens or whatever, or like older teens. Like this feels like the kind of movie you see as like a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old. But like because there's people getting their heads blown off and they're saying shit and damn and ass, and you're like, ooh yeah, I'm not supposed to be watching this. Like it kind of feels like
damn ass.
It kind of feels like one of those. Like it feels, because, especially since Saban distributed it here, it feels like a kid's zombie movie. Like obviously not for kids, but like it feels like it's almost aimed at them in like a weird way. I don't know if I'm like that super well, but
I wish you guys would watch. I know no one's gonna do it, but there's a zombie movie. It's like a zombie / horror movie that the Godsmack lead singer was in that I watched. And that one I think is much better than this one because it's also funny, but it's like in the same vein of just like garbage fucking zombie movie that like it's in one house pretty much. Like it's all. It's just crazy to me. I'm like, man, it made me want to watch that one again, which is weird because I don't want to watch it again.
Or
and I was like,
what's
just remembering how fun it was because it's so cheap and.
Schweiss, did you watch O Zombie with me?
No, I didn't.
Oh, maybe that was Caleb Craig. We watched. This was an Aerostorm Entertainment one, so right in this realm, and that was Osama bin Laden comes back as a zombie.
Oh my god, I have to see this.
Yeah, if you stream that in the fucking art chat, let me know because I'm gonna fucking.
Unfortunately, the one-liner is much better than the movie is, but you know it's right around that same quality of fare. This one might actually be a little better, like objectively.
But yeah, Zach says he wants his $3 back, but I don't know. There were times in this movie I genuinely laughed out loud because of how insane it was and how like they were trying despite how cheap it was. Especially again, if you could see the contorted faces I was making during the fucking ending of this fucking movie.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the ending real quick.
In which the whole time, this whole plot about like basically AOC is like running this like Globo Homo company that's like, well, we're gonna get the cure and that way we can control when this war ends so we can keep selling guns. And then like after Dolph Lundgren goes to like basically die because it turns out he got bit like a few months prior and he's just been like injecting this stuff that like temporarily keeps you from turning. It zooms out and shows that they were playing this on an Xbox 360, except the kid's wearing the Samsung Gear, whatever the fuck VR headset, and all the other people that were in the squad that died are like, oh, that was a good game, guys. I can't believe you let me die to Subject Zero or whatever. And then the kid's mom is calling him for dinner, so then he goes to have dinner with his family, and then the voiceover starts, it's like, but that was one of the last times I had dinner with my family, because then like 2 weeks later, the real infection started, and they were looking for people like us to help stop it. So I'm like, so was it real or was it not? What's going on?
That isn't
like it was it's a dream ending, but also it's
an insane ending.
Literally
and by the way,
with,
it's not the end though. There's still a scene after that.
Well, because I was going to say the ending after that is they show the exact same trailer for like the Marine Corps or whatever the fuck that are fighting the zombies, and then it cuts back to AOC and her like gay right hand like toady, and then the blonde chick that said, "Oh, I got a phone call from this one," as if like, the cycle repeats, you guys. Like,
yeah, that's the theme of the movie.
And then I think it just ends on like a shot of Dolph Lundgren looking like Dolph Lundgren.
Dude, ending, honestly, you know what? Honestly, I respect the balls to end it that way.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. It was all the game. And then I was like, oh, it's
not, though.
It's not the game. So it was the game, but now it's real. Like, why? The movie's over. Why is it real?
Wild.
What's that movie that ends where it like turns out they get on the plane that was going to hit the Twin Towers? It's like that, but it's like the whole movie preceding that was like simulating the Twin Towers attack.
Yeah.
Or is it like...
Wouldn't that be crazy if that actually happened? Yeah, that would be.
No,
Let's hop on flight 737.
And then it like does that other movie with Robert Pattinson where he's cleaning the windows on the two towers.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, that movie. Like if that movie, the whole movie before that scene revealing that it was the 9/11 attacks was like simulating them in the 9/11 attack. And it was like, whoa, man, it was just a dream. Anyway, time to do my window washing job. Woo, 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 woo. And then, like, the plane's coming in, so you hear, like, and they say that a hero can save us.
Dude,
and he's like, he cleans off the window and he sees the reflection of the plane that's heading right at him.
I feel like the ending.
Ready for war! Ready for battle! That's how they should have ended that movie.
I just wanted like one of the kids to be like, wouldn't that be fucked if that really happened? And then it's just like, it. Like, I just
can't
honestly,
believe.
with that ending, I want a sequel, and I want to see if they die the exact same way, or if they like change it. You know what I mean? Because like
man.
the fucking I was kind of honestly, the movie itself was unsatisfying, but the ending is very unsatisfying too. Because like I just like the zombie nuisance is nothing. Like, and this chick is still, like, they didn't even take care of the main bad guy. Like, she's still there.
Yeah.
She's still doing her thing. So, like, what the fuck was...
Yeah, and, like,
the
it's weird
point?
because... Well, it wouldn't... I mean, there should be some lawsuits, some serious lawsuits if, like, there's an actual company that's being just absolutely ravaged by this fucking VR video game. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm the evil bitch in your VR game? But then she is the evil bitch at the end.
That's like if we were.
so
That's like
meta.
it's like if we were playing fucking like Lethal Company or Phasmophobia or Devour, and it turns out the bad guy was like Pfizer. It's just like.
Yeah. And be like, what the fuck, man? Why
And
are we
so
the
they
bad
collected
guy?
the 10 goats and sacrificed them to the evil demon Moderna.
Yeah. And the stock did rise. Yeah, man. It was just ridiculous, that ending. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, it's all
like-
a game. Oh, I didn't expect that.
I had this genuine
Okay.
look of confusion on my face where I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Wait, really?
The same thing. I was like, what in the fuck? So, like, if we're looking at a zombie game, it'd be like playing Resident Evil. Like, we're all hanging out, we're playing it separately, and then, like, it pans out, and, like, Sega, like, adopts, like, the Umbrella Corps, like, you know, like, the Umbrella logo, and it just pans out. It's like, oh. Like, that's...
Look, I'm just saying, this was way more entertaining than any of those fucking Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, it was good in the so bad way. That's what I've missed about the titties and the so bad it's good in the video game movies I've
Dude,
missed.
they don't put tits in movies anymore. They don't.
Yeah, you're
because
not
you have
allowed. It's
porn.
misogynistic.
So it's not. No, I think it's because you have porn, so it's not. It's no longer like a selling point for the movie to have nudity in it. So because there's not a bunch of teenagers going to the movie like trying to catch boobs.
Yeah, true. True.
And so like that takes away a huge part of the audience. Same with the video rental audience. You know, that's a legitimate part of the business. At a certain point, was to have nudity in your movie to sell it.
Mhm.
And so they just don't anymore. They just don't, and they just want to avoid having any controversial, discussions about any nudity in a movie. So it's like they don't put nudity in movies anymore.
Obviously,
it's crazy.
Obviously, the solution to this is to just put hardcore pornography in movies.
It's the only thing that makes movies this bad bearable is when you can see breasts every 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer House of the Dead, and that's a big part of the reason why. I'll say
I prefer. You know what? I lied. I prefer Resident Evil 1 because you get to see like Mila Jovovich's fucking like negative A cup tits and her like little gash down there for like a frame and a half.
I've been thinking about this a little bit. I some food for thought.
Mila Jovovich's negative A cup tits. Me too, both.
Or gash. Yeah. Hell
no. Nothing about Mila Jovovich, but I was thinking about, why, like the sensitivities of the day. If something comes up in a movie or a TV show, people like there's a good section of like the populace that will throw a fit about anything. They're hypersensitive. It's like the new prudes thing. Back in the 90s, it was like the Bible Belt kind of thing, and now that somehow washed away.
But yeah.
And now we have like a bunch of whiny little college students or something. So with that all in mind, it's like, okay, what is the difference here? What is the difference right now? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's no longer a movie theater. It's the internet, and the internet is just open. So there's not a rating system that you have to check before going into media, whether or not you're like, we don't need a fucking trigger warning in front. There's already a fucking rating system.
Well, wait, hold on.
That's my point of view.
Hold on a minute.
But when you are just in the fucking internet, everything's open. Like, I'm on Facebook. I see shorts with the F word in them. Like, if I'm, like, taking shit on the toilet, I'm, like, just browsing through the shorts. There's the F words all over the place. And I'm like, why is this just open to me? Why am I allowed to just, like, this is just thrown into my face and I have no like choice here. And so I think that's really what it is. Like people are no longer making choices with their media. The media is just being thrown at them. And then if they're like a whiny little bitch, and then they're going to get like upset about that, and which does make sense in a certain way. In another way, it's like, don't you remember the days when it's like, I can't wait, the R-rated movies, they're for the adults, because the adults can handle whatever that movie throws at them. That's the idea.
Do you know how fucking rock hard I was the day I woke up and I said, I can go see 300 in theaters today because it's out? And there's going to be violence and tits and sweaty men.
There's a lot more male nudity in that movie than I think than like the two tits you see in that movie. That's
Look, I was 17. I didn't know any better.
But no, I've been thinking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's because the internet doesn't have the FCC like gating content,
and
so
let's pray they never do. So
you feel like, you can feel like a bad boy when you're like, ooh, I'm going to check this thing out that, whatever.
And ooh, I'm a bad boy as I click on she-mail pornography.
I was just thinking about that. Like, why are people so upset at things now? It's like, because like a lot of it is just like they don't feel like they're an adult. Like there's no separation between adult and teenagehood in there.
That's actually really
even with something just as simple as media choice, like it's just suddenly there. And like where there's like all Netflix does is separate like either you're a tiny child or you're like or you're 33 years old. Like it's one of the two.
Or you're a 33-year-old heathen.
Yeah, it's one of the two. It's like all of our shows are rated M with lots of nudity and lots of like swearing in it.
Or there's Coco Melon.
Yeah, or it's like fucking like, it's the kids one. You can watch Toy Story or something. Like and that's it. Like there's no shades of gray. There's no like incremental building up in terms of maturity of the viewer or anything like that, or what they're like the subjects that are being thrown at them. Well, and you take away like the I'm going to see something I'm not supposed to see. Like you take away that energy from it. It's just fucking there.
Well, yeah. So, to add to your point too, if I had like a nickel for every time I see someone online where it's just like, I can't believe they're letting just anyone watch this stuff. Like they almost want the rating system. They almost want sort of like the categorization that isn't necessarily inherent with like media now through the internet. Like there would be that barrier before with like movie ratings and game ratings and TV ratings, but yeah, like you said, we don't have that now, and these people are like, oh well, any kid could just wander in and watch this, and it's just like, I mean, that's the internet, yeah. So
you have to be proactive as a parent, and
yes,
yes.
Speaking of, this is a perfect time to bring in this side story. So Jace the other day was like listening to a story about skinwalkers, and he was asking his like Alexa for kids thing. He's like, he asked for he said, I want a full image or full skinwalker picture is what he asked for. But Google, I guess Alexa thought he was asking for a foreskin walker.
Oh.
And that's what I gave him. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he came in the room and he's like, guys, can one of you come here for a minute? And then he was like real nervous that he was going to be in trouble. And it was like a massive like cock beast.
What's a foreskin walker? Is it like a sack race but with your foreskin?
I was like, what did you ask for? And he's like, I wanted a full skinwalker image. And I was like, no, buddy, that's foreskin walker. That's something that I didn't even know was a thing. And it's this little Alexa for kids thing. And I was like, damn, I got to take that shit away. Yeah. Maybe the foreskin walker. I was like, good God. Yeah, wow. That was fucking hilarious.
That's wow. I learned something new today.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh man, that's funny.
So when we finally finish this podcast and we get into game development, we can make the Skinwalker as a horror game. It'll just be a copy of Slender, except you're getting chased around by a dude who's a giant foreskin. I
did for the 9th time look up who had the rights to Carnivores, the old PC dinosaur hunting game.
Yeah.
There's some it's like Tatum Games or whatever, and they're from the Ukraine. So
we'll be able to buy them pretty soon. Yeah.
So I did look at that, and I'm like, and then I was like, yeah, there's no way that can be a movie. I would be just one of those other guys that would make a shitty fucking movie out of nothing.
Sorry, fucking
it's like dinosaurs hunting.
Drew was talking about like nice stories twice. That's like when game emulation sites back in my teenage years showed DBZ hentai ads, and I was thinking like, yeah, I guess it's a lot easier now for kids because back in like the day, I'd have to wait till my mom was like away and I had free access to the computer, and I would just go and Google and type in like naked lady, and I would just be like, whoa. So yeah, it's like weirdly too accessible now for kids. I mean, again, ideally, most parents wouldn't let kids under like 18 or maybe 16 on the internet that freely. But I'm not a parent, so I can't. It's whatever. It's up to the parents. But yes, Joe is right. Parents need to be more proactive, and I don't think the internet should necessarily be regulated, but maybe keep the youngins off of it as much as possible. I think would be the safest move.
I don't have an answer. I think it's a complicated situation.
Oh, it's definitely complicated.
And the thing is, like, I don't think I needed. I mean, the problem, I think as a teenage boy, pornography is a problem because you can do nothing and just watch like pornography and masturbate, I don't know, 9 times a day. And that's the problem with pornography, is that it's like too powerful when you have so many hormones going on, and you will go nowhere and do nothing and not try to see a real girl because all you want to do is look at the porn. 100% unregulated like access to pornography is a problem. However, I think I could have handled most of the rated R movies that I watched today just fine as a teenager. Just fine. Putting like swear words as part of the rating system, I think, is silly. Because you walk down a middle school hallway and you hear swearing all day long. So there's some things I think are insane there and stupid, and then some things where I'm like, yeah, the pornography thing I think that's a little too much. I think it needs to be like, I don't think there's a world that's going to exist where the teenager cannot find pornography.
Yeah, fucking
just like I did. I was able to find it, but I did have to go through some hoops and break into people's houses and stuff in order to get to.
It sounds so bad.
The porn.
I know I know what you're saying, and I've heard the stories before, but like you could maybe phrase it a little differently. But,
no, this is a comedy podcast. I want to just go for it.
Yeah, but Drew said in the chat that like, kids are always going to find a way, and it's true. It's like what I say about the social media thing. It's like ideally you wouldn't let 18-year-olds or younger on social media, but there's no way to like force that like without ID verification shit, and that would not be good. So it's just the thing where it's like, yeah, the kids that want to get on there and get fucked up, it's kind of on them or the parents for not keeping track of shit. But like,
yeah,
it's that or total authoritarianism, and I'm not really into that. So
I was talking to a friend of mine who's working at USC where they're having a ton of protests right now. And like, I was just like, dude, what's it like working with these college kids? Like, what is that like? And he's like, well, it's not as bad as people think, but also it's just as bad as people think. That's what he said. It's like both at the same time. And he goes, here's what the problem is. You have older people never look things up. And that's always a problem because information has moved on and an older person is not up to date on it. And that could be a problem in various circumstances. And he says the problem with the college kids and people younger than us oftentimes is that they look things up and they just go with it. So they see the first explanation, the popular explanation, and they do not dig deeper. They just go, oh, this is the answer the internet has told me, and so they go with it. And so they do things like protesting for Palestine or whatever, and they don't realize how complex that situation is. There is no simple answer to that situation, and you only have to look for maybe another hour of reading in order to realize that.
Yeah,
there is nothing.
It's not even
simple
another
about
hour.
this.
It's like literally look more than like surface level. That's all you have to do. But
that's kind of reminiscent of what I said years ago. It's one of my sayings is like, it's not that people want you to do your research. They want you to do their research. It's like, do your research. It's like, oh, you mean find the exact thing that you found that you want to like sell me on? Like, that's what they really mean is
you could go to like, you could go to mine and my friends like total nihilism at this point where I will say he's more well-read than I am. I'm pretty well-read. And you get to a point where you're like, I don't believe in anything, and I've lost my religion at a certain point too. It's like, I'm not joining your fucking party. I don't believe in any large group things, like anything like that. I'm not going to be attached myself to because I'm not stupid. People are crazy. People are dangerous. Like people in large groups that think one thing are stupid. And that's kind of the thing that makes them stupid is because they believe one thing and they have one answer for every single thing. And I don't know. And I see like anybody protest anything. That's how I feel. But like especially this latest situation. But it is kind of that thing. It's like the internet. That's just another problem with the internet. It's just like you'll just look at something and you'll take it for its word.
Well, and
I've done that before and been fucking wrong, like absolutely fucking wrong about.
You'll also find
things.
way more people who are going to validate you just by having the exact same opinion, whereas before you would have to like find that within your peers physically, and that's not nearly as easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I piss people off a lot because I just go like, well, there's no statistical anecdotal evidence to back that up. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, well, I don't know anyone who's played the Horizon Zero Dawn games, so I don't think they've really sold that much. And they're like, but it sold like 20 million copies. I'm like, I don't know anyone who played it, so it might as well be zero to me. Like, what am I going to do? Believe what someone else told me? What am I, gay? But it's like where it is. Where it's like, yeah, at this point, I'm just like, I'd rather just verify things like through my own eyes, and I know that there's wiggle room for that, obviously, but like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like I just don't take anything at face value that I read online, even if it's something that like necessarily like backs up my viewpoint. It's just like, yeah, but it's like, I don't know, everyone's crazy now, and the internet only seems to filter in like the most insane extremist takes on either end, so you really got to be careful with that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, I don't know where Zach went. His internet's been so fucking shitty.
There was a minute there where like the frame of Zach was just like, it was just him like on the corner of the screen like, yeah, but yeah, I guess his internet's fucked. But Dead Trigger, weirdly entertaining movie despite being very low budget and really,
I mean, it's bad.
It's a bad movie. But, like, I had a lot of fun watching it.
It's a bad movie. But I did laugh a couple times pretty hard.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend someone go and rent this for $3 or $4 off Amazon, but like if you're with some friends and you're really turnt and you want a fun movie to laugh at, this is a good one.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's just bad and you can skip it, but anyway.
Yeah, watch the Godsmack one instead. It's
what is the Godsmack one? Do you know the name?
Solely, I think it's Army something.
Army of the Damned.
Army of the Damned, not Army of the Dead. Army of the Damned.
And you might as well have just said, fucking like, oh, it's called like Dawn of the Dead or whatever.
Vagueness of the Halloween movie.
I had a great time watching that. It was like watching one of Joe's movies.
Army of the Dead.
Joe's one movie, I guess.
Hey, is Chicken Coop all right? You can say the truth.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's actually good. The other one I had a great time with,
does it have Dave Bautista in it?
No.
No, that's Army of the Dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Army of the Damned. Just look up Sully Erna movie. It's the only movie he's been in.
He's been in a doc. He's been in a
now there's
Joey
a
Fatone is in Army of the Damned.
It's awesome, dude. I'm telling you. For
So is that guy
$3
that
on
looks like a
YouTube.
literal cone head, Michael Berryman,
Yes, yeah.
like the Hills Have Eyes guy. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think that was it for this week on Nude Clan. I don't know when the next episode's coming out. We don't have much to review left, and some people are taking their sweet fucking time.
I'm assuming within the next 2 weeks I can finish Shin Megami Tensei. Zach, I'm not so sure, but that's not my problem. So,
the last movie we have on our list is called Werewolves Within.
yes, based on, I believe, a PlayStation Move game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, how do people get funding for these things?
I don't know. Well, these last few were the ones where it's just like, okay, Dead Trigger, never heard of it. Werewolves Within, have heard of it, seen it in the bargain bin, don't know a single fucking soul who's played that game. So how did it get a movie? Like, how did that get a movie and not like Little Big Planet or like Spyro or fucking anything? But like, yeah.
Werewolves Within 2021. Ooh, a COVID movie. 2021 horror mystery comedy from Josh Rubin. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. From College Humor.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Josh Rubin worked on College Humor.
Oh, okay. I thought like College Humor produced this movie, and I'm like, what are they doing over there?
I don't know. I haven't seen a College Humor video in like 10 years.
Wait, hold on. Josh, fucking hold on. Let me look that guy.
This movie made almost $1 million on a budget of 6.5. Oh, there's like hardly any information outside of the Deadline articles about like them escaping Mexico and the director not getting paid. There's like no information on the Dead Trigger movie.
Okay, I have seen this Josh Rubin guy before on like some of the old College Humor stuff, but that's about it. That's weird.
All right.
Did not know he was a director.
Well, now he is. We will. We'll see you guys then.
Yeah. Live always in the nude.
Walk with your fucking, I don't have a funny one for this one.
With your shotgun held high.
Yeah, walk with your shotgun held at a 45-degree angle and it still blows your fucking head off.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah!